Go.
If you've been trying to grow your business, but you're not sure of what to focus on, in this video, we're gonna talk about the 3 things to focus on to hit your goals this year. I brought on my friend, James Wedmore, to talk about these 3 things, TLC.
Tender, loving care.
I knew you were gonna do that. They might not be exactly what you think. So we're gonna talk about this and how these 3 very simple things will give you the exact right next steps to hit your goal. So, all right, take it away.
Yeah, and I'm gonna warn you, I'm gonna keep this very simple, and sometimes people want it to be really complicated and advanced, but I noticed a long time ago, the more simple we keep business, because business is simple, the easier you'll do it. And for a long time, I was putting my goal on a vision board. Like I kept putting like $100,000 a year, and I just kept like looking at that number like, okay, now what? And we have to understand that tiny hinges swing big doors. And if all you're doing is focusing on this number and saying, I want to grow my business, which means I want to take it from 0 to 100K or 100K to 200K, but you don't know what to focus on, then chances are you're going to find yourself just staying busy doing whatever's right in front of you and get to the end of the year and say nothing changed. And that can be completely heartbreaking. So TLC is the most simple strategy. It's universal for any online business. Yeah, it is tender, loving care, but it's also traffic, leads, and conversions. Yes.
So what I wanted to say is that when you focus on these 3 things, I know if you're watching and if you're here because of me, then chances are you want to grow your business in less time. People who usually are in my audience want to sit in that sweet spot of working 10 to 20 hours a week, maybe because you have kids, maybe because you're busy, and this really, truly is your answer. If you just focus on these 3 things that James is going to talk about, then it doesn't matter if you have 5 hours to work a week, you can grow your business and get to even there and beyond.
It's important to notice though that these are sequential and causal in nature. In other words, you know, Stephen Covey said begin with the end in mind. So the end in mind is conversions or customers. So if you had a $1,000 program that you sold and you sold 10 of them, okay? So now we have $10,000. Well, if we increase the amount of leads, which are interested prospects, then we can increase the number of customers, right? If before you had 100 to get 10, and we increase this to 200, we double this number. And in order to get this number doubled, we need more traffic. So the more you increase this number, the more you have the potential to increase this number, which naturally increases this number. This makes sense. If you did a webinar with 5 people, there's no way you're gonna do more than 5 sales. But if you had 5,000 people on that webinar, you're probably gonna do more than 5 sales. So we have to focus on all 3, but we have to focus on all 3 of them in consecutive sequential order. One causes the next, and it doesn't have to be rocket science. So we have a digital dashboard PDF that walks you through how to do this, but I'm gonna break it down for you really quickly. First, traffic means first and foremost, we need a platform. We need some sort of platform where people are finding you. Now there are free platforms, whether it's Instagram or TikTok or a Facebook group or a podcast or a YouTube channel. It really doesn't matter. There's a lot of different options for a lot of different businesses, but you need a platform where people can find you. And the more you focus on building that platform, the more people continue to find you. And from that platform, what?
Does this mean, do I need to be everywhere? Do I need to be on Instagram, TikTok,
you
podcast,
could choose
website?
To be everywhere, but when you're trying to be in all places at the same time, you spread yourself too thin and you end up being mediocre on all of them. So when you go all in on one at first, you give 100% attention and intensity to that, you're probably gonna grow it faster than trying to be everywhere. And as you grow, you get to be on more places. From your platform, we need a way to say, hey, come into my world. And this can be a freebie, it can be an opt-in, and it can actually be part of a launch, you know, like register for this webinar, etc. So we need some sort of list building strategy here to get people off of external things that you don't own, like you don't own Instagram, you don't own YouTube, into your world where you have their contact information, where you can follow up with them. And then we need some sort of sales system that actually sells your stuff. Most people do not have a replicatable sales system in their business, like a webinar or a challenge or a launch or a funnel. So they're just on here creating content, or they're just list building but they don't have a platform, or they just have a sales system but they have no audience. And so chances are you're really good at one of these, or one of these is your preferred, and you're missing one or two. It's when all three of these work together in sequential order is when things start to get really exciting for you. TLC, traffic, leads, customers.
Okay, so let's talk about, because you actually walk them through on the dashboard how to fill this out and how to do it in a way so making your goal, hitting your goal, becomes just a series of next steps.
Yes, because if I sit there and I say, okay, you want to make $100,000, go make $100,000, go make 100,000. Hurry up. Did you make it? It's really hard. Money becomes this intangible thing that isn't really attached or connected to action. But if I said, okay, in order to make $100,000, I got to have an email list size of this. In order to have an email size of this, I must have a platform of this size. Well, now we can create an action item out of that. We can sit there and say, well, if I create a new piece of content every single day or every single week, or if I have a podcast and I do a new episode every week and I promote it and talk about it every single day on social, then I can start to build the traffic, which gets the list building, which ends up with the customers. So until you have a reverse engineered strategy for profitability that leaves you with a daily action list, you're gonna end up staying busy and wondering, what do I focus on? What do I do next? And then the revenue goal tends to elude you.
So if you love a to-do list and if you love like a one-sheet planner, if you're like me, you love planners, download the digital dashboard and James will walk you through this.